You tuned into your favorite friendly neighborhood Dr. Ben's comics. We're going to do what we do every day. Go look at some comic books.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Anyways, it's a brand new issue of She just came out, right? Just delivered. And I remember when he was starting it, like I think he had like a reveal of like these other characters on the cover, Mickey and Minnie, and I think that's Oswald the rat or something. I'm not sure of Oswald, the other guy's name. And then it wasn't Popeye didn't enter the public domain until I think it was January of this year, actually, of January of 25. Because he had like, it was like a reveal he had of who the other character was. It was going to be on the cover and has a guest spot inside. Because, with these older Mickey Mouse, Popeye, Oswald, with these characters, they're like 100 years old or whatever. And they enter into the public domain where anyone can use them. But again, I don't know. I don't know the details of that. I'm not a lawyer. But this is the thing too, is that with all these She comics that I have already, I'm not like a fantastic reader, and there's so many. I'm not sure where to begin reading. So that's what, like, I got this, and I was like, you know what, this is going to be the first She comic that I sit and like read the whole thing and figure out what's going on. And I think it's a good entrance. It makes me want to go through like all the rest of them and figure out what the story is, because it's about this, how do they say her name, Anna Kurosawa, I think is what this lady's name is, and that lady is the mother of this girl who was reading her father's old comics. They kind of like argue about it a little bit. The mother takes the comics and she's thinking about them, and then it goes into like a dream sequence, which, as you know, like, I'm like a huge fan of comics that are based in dreams. So like the Max from the 1990s, that was a big comic I loved. Sandman, like Neil Gaiman, that was the comic where each issue was like a different dream, and like, Rare Bit Fiends, another one by Rick Veitch. And like comics and dreams just seem to go together somehow. So that's, what I'm saying. Like, immediately, I'm like, personally, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So this is She, and she's falls into this dream world where she meets these the cover characters. There's Popeye, there's Mickey, and most notably, though, maybe not most notably, but for the story itself, she what's over there? She runs into this character down here. That is essentially, it's like the original design that Billy Tucci had for She, right? Before he kind of like refined it and turned his character into what she is. She, there's the whole like ninja or samurai clans and stuff. Like I said, like, I'm not huge on reading and understanding things. So the main reason I get Billy Tucci's comics is because, I mean, his drawings are just perfect. He's just like a master of the art form. And that's what this kind of does, is like this whole issue goes through like different eras in comics, right? Like, they kind of time travel. I guess that's the sort of like the most I can do for a spoiler. I don't want to tell you everything that happens. It's like a Betty and Veronica sequence, like, it's, yeah. And I guess it's not a spoiler who else shows up in the comic, but it's Lady Death shows up in the comic as well. That's what I'm saying. It's a classic crossover comic, right? And that was the other reason I was really excited about it, because like I said, Billy Tucci has been doing comics since the 90s, and he's been doing She. You know what I mean? Like, that was back in the 90s is when there was the whole like self-publishing explosion. There was the indie black and white explosion in the 80s after the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then in the 90s it kept going. But so like this is one of the other things. This is She and Cyblade from Image Comics' Cyberforce by Mark Silvestri, right? They had crossovers with them. And the first issue, well, they're both labeled issue number 1, but you can see this one is labeled She, Cyblade. This one is Cyblade, She. But they're both issue 1. One was put out through Image and is drawn by Silvestri. And it's definitely good. I like it. But it doesn't have as much, like, it's more like Silvestri has his own characters, like Witchblade is in this one. And that's kind of it. And She, but in the one that they put out through Billy Tucci's company here, Crusade Comics. It's, well, like I said, it's a different, instead of Shyblade and it's She and Cyblade. She is first in this one, and it's this one has like a number of the other characters and creators. I'm not sure if he had like the creators actually contribute parts of the art. I think he might have, but they contributed like their characters. So like, and he goes through explaining all of them. She, of course, is from Billy Tucci. Cyblade from Mark Silvestri. Phone Bone from Jeff Smith shows up along with Cerebus by Dave Sim and Gerard. Mr. Spook from Larry Martyr. Larry Martyr somehow was like the CEO of Image Comics for a long time. The Atomic Angels. Oh, it's another new creation by Billy there. Gabriel. I'm not sure about who. Never seen that one before. I heard about Ash. Maybe that is Ash from Joe Quesada. And there's even more. That's what I'm saying. There's a whole. It's like 50 of them. Jesus. Hellboy. Hellboy's in here. Johnny the homicidal maniac. All these little guys all show up in here. And I guess that's this one. I don't care spoiling this She Cyblade crossover from literally 30 years ago. Megaton Man, Don Simpson's Megaton Man, my nemesis there. And then this is where he has, this is what I'm saying. I think some of the creators might have like done penciled in sketches of their characters or something like that with this, maybe not. I don't know. I wouldn't put any money on it either way. But I know that was definitely like a thing in the 90s, was indie creators having crossovers and having these big scenes of all the characters, or, like with the Marvel and DC crossovers, or like when Image Comics crossed over with Valiant Comics, they'd have all the heroes all doing the classic. They're all charging into battle to stop whatever. So, like the indie guys had to do that too. We got Steve Bissett's Dinosaur Tyrant up there, Grifter in the middle there from Jim Lee. Anyways, that's what I'm saying. Like, Billy Tucci has been doing indie comics this whole time. Like, he never stopped. Like, he started making them back in the 90s with She, and he has continued making them all this time, making more She comics as a show. I don't even have like I doubt I even have like a tenth of the She comics that are out there. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And he's still, like, this, I'm saying, not slowing down, not doing any less. Some people, if you're an artist, sometimes you might get to a point where you just kind of like, you can phone it in a little bit. And like, that's not Billy Tucci. He's doing old school, traditional artwork, tons of details. And then he's bringing in like